We begin tonight with a terrifying concept.
A frightening article.
They're calling it Project 2025.
Incredibly important reporting people need to pay attention to.
This plan that they want to put in place if the Republican Party wins the presidency upon the inauguration.
According to the New York Times, those plans include bringing independent agencies under direct presidential control.
It's kind of being pitched under the guise of dismantling the administrative state.
They say they would plan to do this with any Republican president.
It's about deregulation. It's about deconstructing the administrative state.
There's a network of conservative groups who are backing this effort, like the Heritage Foundation.
Take this very seriously. Don't think this is a joke.
It is incredibly alarming.
Frightening development.
You don't have to be a civics dork to know that you don't want that.
We've never seen anything like this in American history.
All right. So that's one. I do have another thing to share with you, and this was posted by what's his name? His name is James Bowen. James Bowen posted this on his Facebook page, and he kind of clipped a number of comments on Twitter. Benny Johnson, conservative political pundit, says, "It is my duty, it is my honor to inform you that Project 2025 was real the whole time." And this was posted after Trump won the presidency. So this is both French. So we can admit now that we are going to implement Project 2025. This is Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire. Now, the election is over. I think we can finally say, yay. Actually, Project 2025 is the agenda, LOL. So how do you feel about these responses? Or do you see this as a big joke from your perspective?
No, I wouldn't take this as a joke. Because I do know that in Project 2025, there is a deregulatory movement. And that's what the DOGE is set up for. The DOGE is set up for that. Department of Government Efficiency, that's a deregulatory movement, okay? They're there to...
So you're talking about the one that Elon Musk has been assigned to with Vivek Ramaswamy? Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And that's why I said there are elements of Project 2025 that will be used by this administration. Because when you deregulate, that's what brings the cost of our spending, our government spending down, right? So that's part of it. But that does not have to be in Project 2025. Republicans historically believe in smaller government. So less regulation, less spending. So that's already there, okay? A lot of what they're saying in Project 2025 are really conservative thinking, okay? Like I said, the biggest parts are getting rid of what they're going after, education, which is the Board of Education. Now, the Board of Education was set up for plenty other reasons besides what we know today as the Board of Education. The Board of Education was not a good thing, right, when it was set up. And this is the history that people have to understand about the Board of Education. It was not set up for blacks to get into school or anything like that. It was set up for the federal government to have full control. This was set up during the Roosevelt time, full control over the students in the homes, where parents were forced to make sure that their children were in school. This was a dictatorial movement by the government, by the federal government. So this is part of the Project 2025 to get rid of the Department of Education. Okay? Now, it's written in Project 2025, but that was Donald Trump's plan in 2016. That's what he wanted to do in 2016, is get rid of the Department of Education. Many other presidents, George Bush the first, many of them, they wanted to get rid of the Department of Education a long time ago, but they didn't have the power to do so, right? So a lot of the conservative thinking that was done in the past is now written in Project 2025, and they will implement probably a third of those policies from the Project 2025. Now, when it comes to the Sunday law, again, you cannot do that arbitrarily. You cannot unilaterally do that by yourself. Donald Trump doesn't have that power. And he cannot go to to Congress and say, write a law for Sunday worship. Can't do that either. Okay? The reason is because checks and balance will happen. And you're going against the Constitution. And the people will speak. And oh, by the way, if you want votes, you would not do that if you want a second term. Now, he cannot get a second term, but he sure can get a second term through J.D. Vance. You see? So you want to make sure you keep your power. If you go against what the people want, you will not have power, i.e. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They went against what the people wanted. Now they're going home. Kamala Harris destroyed her career. Her political career is over. Okay? Joe Biden, his political career ended in July.
She might get a job with The Views. You never know how that go.
That's not a political thing. And again, you're right. She
Yeah,
definitely will get a job at MSNBC. Seeing that what you showed me, the videos you showed me just a second ago was all MSNBC. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see her getting over there and getting a job there. But the truth of the matter is it just cannot, you have to think logically and you have to also think spiritually. You have to go, Lord, show us where this thing will go in time. And look at how things are being played out. And also understand history and understand civics, because you got to understand how the three branches of our government work. Once that goes away, once we have an executive branch by itself, and, when I say executive branch, he controls everything. And there is, he's the unilateral person. Once that happens, then we have a problem. I think what people are looking at and what people are not looking at is what happened in September. This is what I want people to focus on. In September, the UN and the WHO got together and they passed a motion, okay, for the WHO to take over the to have unilateral sovereignty over America in case of disasters and pandemics and any other issue where a national what's that term I'm looking for when there's like a hurricane and stuff like that. They pass a state of emergency.
State of emergency. Okay.
Yes, a national state of emergency, just like what we had during COVID.
Correct.
Once we have a national state of emergency, the government has full 100% power over the citizens. Okay, but now with this motion that's been passed in the UN takes over. The UN has that power. You see, and now the one who is in control of the UN is Rome. How is it control of the UN? Because right now, the secretary of the secretary of the UN, the one who's in power at the United Nations, is a Roman Catholic.
Oh boy.
Okay, so these are the things that we really need to focus on, because we're so focused on Donald Trump that if anything happens, and I believe there will be some kind of state of emergency in his administration, during his administration, I believe if he doesn't get rid of the WHO, if he doesn't defund them and get rid of them and pull us out of the climate accord, then we have much of a more of a problem. It's not Donald Trump. It's the Pope of Rome. Because once America, who's in bed with the United Nations, once that happens, then all nations are under one jurisdiction. And that jurisdiction is owned by Rome. So that's what I'm looking at. More so than just a Project 2025 and, because a national Sunday law could be passed during this time. If it's a climate issue that they drop on as a national emergency and, a state of emergency because of it's national and it's a climate issue, guaranteed there'll be a climate lockdown and guaranteed there could be climate laws that will be passed. And these climate laws can be passed by the United Nations without Congress.
Wow. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head here. Again, it goes back to the signs, to the events that needs to take place in order for this law to be enforced. But we are told that the final movements will be rapid ones, right? We understand certain things are being put in place to bring about that change. And there's no doubt in my mind that it's happening much faster than we realize. I believe that. So things are definitely cooking up.